The Auburn Tigers are headed to the Final Four. Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, and we are ready to rock and roll. We're going to switch things up a little bit. Typically, we do top button podcasts first, but we got to show love to the hoops. We got to show love to the hoop squad. Got to show love to the basketball team as they punch their ticket to San Antonio to play in the Final Four in another, I'll call it, a dominant performance against the Michigan State Spartans. The Big Ten champions won the regular season 30-6 going into the game, leaving 30-7. So many storylines to talk about. You had the Johni Broome legacy game, and this is the greatest Auburn basketball team of all time. And we're going to dive into that all shortly. But before we do that, we got to give a quick shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Go to UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com. Use coupon code TheBarn25 to take 25% off your order. If you live in the state of Alabama, you can go to any Publix. If you don't live anywhere near one of those, definitely need to check out the website. If you love salsa and you want to try it with a little bit of a Southern kick, you need to give Uncle Keith's Red Sauce a try. An Auburn family, an Auburn product. Show them some love. Show them some support. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce is good, y'all. Auburn takes down the Michigan State Spartans 70-64. And honestly, that is about as close. That score right there is about as close as the game ever got. Auburn jumped out early in the first half and went on somewhat, I think it was like a 15 or 17-0 run, something like that. Michigan State responded with like a 7-0 run. But really, the game was always right around 10 points. Michigan State would cut it to 5. Auburn would jump back out and get it to 10, 12, 13, 14 points. And then right there at the end, Michigan State hit some shots and got it to 6, but there wasn't enough time, and there was really no way they were going to be able to overcome that deficit with just such a short amount of time right there at the end. It was, again, this is about as close as the game ever got. This is the performance. This is one of those performances that we had been waiting for. After the first half, I think my dad texted me. He's like, this is the best Auburn's played in the whole tournament so far. Can't ask for much more. If they get beat, the other team's just better because this is good basketball. And it was great basketball. They were not turning it over. They were playing suffocating defense. Michigan State makes their living off their guards being able to get in there, get to the basket, get to the free throw line. Now that happened in the second half. But really the story of the game was Jackson Kohler. He opened up, I think he was 3 of 4. He's one of their big guys. He was 3 of 4 from 3. He hit 2 threes in the first half that really kept them in the game. Had a double-double. Auburn really limited Jace Richardson. Really, honestly, I know the point. I know he still scored 15 points, but really limited Jaden Atkins. Shut down Jeremy Fears. Their guards are how they go. They're not a big man. They're not a big man team. They're very guard led. Very much. I said it before. They're very much like Ole Miss. That's why I felt really good about the matchup, because to me they were just like a little bit better Ole Miss team, and that's how it ended up. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. They are a get to the basket, get to the line team. And that's what Auburn pretty much neutralized. Was so excited to see them put a game together from the beginning to the end. We felt like through the whole tournament, it's just been like you get spurts where it's great basketball. Creighton was pretty close to a complete game. Michigan, you got 12 minutes, but they were a ferocious 12 minutes. This one from start to end was just art. It really was. And you didn't necessarily have your big your big contributions from your guards. This was pretty much the Johni Broome legacy game. He was incredible. He started out in the game hitting his first 5 shots. He looked strong in the paint. He was not looking for a foul. He was just like, I'm going to the hoop. If I get hit, I get hit, but I'm going strong. We're not going to try to absorb contact. We're not going to try to draw a foul. We're just going to get to the hoop. It looked like the old Johni Broome. And that may be a little bit of what's been this quote unquote slump maybe he's been in. I put slump in quotation marks only because, yeah, he still had the production, but the efficiency has not really been there. Bruce joked about it in the last game, saying he had a triple-double. He had, double-digit points, double-digit rebounds, and double-digit missed shots. Bad news for Johni Broome last night. He didn't have a triple-double last night because he only missed 2 shots the whole game. He had 25 points, 14 rebounds, 2 of 2 from 3. He even hit, I know he missed 2 late, but he hit 2 big free throws. He hit 2 big free throws late, and then he missed 2. But he's 3 of 5 from the line. He was incredible. They had nothing. They could do nothing with him. He was getting offensive rebounds. He was erasing their possessions. Like, they were having one-and-done possession after one-and-done possession. I mean, they were just he was erasing their missed shots. Just if they shot it, that was it. That was the end of the possession. He was killing the boards, crashing the boards hard. And then you had the injury scare. And I'm going to be honest. He could have torn his knee. He could have torn his elbow. He could have broken his wrist all in the same play. I mean, it was the most freaky. It was like Final Destination. Legitimately. His knee buckles, his elbow buckles, and he goes down on his wrist all instantaneously. He gets up. He starts walking off. You can see him mouth, "I'm done." And this was somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it was around like the first part of the second half, maybe after the first TV break or something like that, 14, 15 minutes. And you're like, man, there's just so much time left. Maybe a little bit later. Regardless, when he came out, I think Auburn had a 10-point lead. You're like, man, there's so much time left in this game. I just don't know. I'm worried about fouls, worried about this, worried about that. He comes out of the game. Auburn's got a 10-point lead. And then he comes back like the movie script 5 or 6 minutes later. So there was a good 5 or 6 minute stretch without him. And Auburn's got a 12-point lead. It was 11 or 12-point lead. What a team, man. He comes walking out of the locker room. Again, Steven Spielberg couldn't have drawn it up better. Comes walking out of the locker room. The crowd starts going crazy. Michigan State's at the free throw line. They make their first one, maybe miss their second one, and he goes up and gets a one-handed rebound. They go down the court. They kick it to Johni for 3, and he just buries it. I'm talking lights up the nylon. The crowd goes nuts, stretches Auburn's lead to 14 or 15 points. Late in the game. Almost feel like that's the dagger. That's the game-winning shot because it was just too much time. I'm sorry, there was not enough time, and there was too many points to have to overcome. They call timeout. The crowd goes berserk. Johni goes berserk. He was really favoring that elbow quite a bit. I think there's no structural damage. It'll just be one of those. It's going to be sore, but you know what? You got like 6 days to get ready. 6 days to rehab it. 6 days to get it healthy. Man, we needed that game. We needed that game from Johni, big time. That's the game that makes him a. That's the game that puts him over. If there was ever a doubt he needed a statue, or if there was ever a doubt that he maybe is arguably the best player of Auburn in Auburn history at basketball, that game was the game that cemented his legacy to me. And there's still a couple of games left to go, and he could even do some more crazy things. But man, he was dominant. He was dominant. Michigan State had no answer. So good for him, man. Good for him. Good for that team. We'll talk a little bit about it here in just a second. But before we do that, we got to give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. I hit a massive parlay. I took the under in the Houston, Tennessee game, which was the lock of the century. They got a little bit scary right there at the end. And then I took Auburn minus 5.5. And I was sweating there at the end. But Auburn covers by the hook, covers by a half point. You could do the same thing. Go to mybookie.ag, use coupon code BARN, take to get that 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Take that free play and then go have fun. Hit the casino, hit the sports book, bet any kind of sport you can imagine. Easy deposits, easy withdrawals. It's mybookie.ag. And then you got to check out rowback.com. They're dropping new stuff. If you like the Masters, they got their Masters collection. They call it the Azalea collection. All their Masters themed item. You might be able to get it in time for the Masters this weekend. Next weekend. It's going to be tough though. You got to get after it. Use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off your order. Definitely show them some love. It's rowback.com. We'll be back right after this. We had some discussions as well before the game started. Is this the greatest Auburn team of all time? And a lot of people were like, I think they need to win tonight. If they win tonight, for sure. And they obviously won. So to me, it's really no question anymore that this is the greatest Auburn basketball team of all time. But I thought going into the game, it still was. And just think about Final Four notwithstanding. Just think about this season. You won the most quad one games in history. You look at the Final Four, going back to the Final Four, look at the Final Four. You played all the teams. That's insane. You beat one of them. You lost to one in a close game at home, and then Florida drums you at your house. But still, the toughest schedule in the history of Auburn, and you've won 31 games so far. The toughest SEC in the history of basketball, maybe the toughest conference in the history of basketball. 4 SEC teams in the Elite Eight, 7 in the Sweet 16. 14 teams get into the tournament. And Auburn wins the conference with a 2-game cushion. They win the conference with 2 games to go. Not only that, you play your toughest out-of-conference schedule in history, the history of Auburn, maybe in the history of basketball, is the toughest out-of-conference schedule. You win the Maui Invitational with the elite of the elites in attendance. You beat Iowa State tournament team, who, if they don't have if they don't have one of their better players injured and out for the tournament, they may have gone further. Beat Memphis tournament team. Beat North Carolina tournament team. Just crazy, man. Crazy how crazy this whole season. How it was. I mean, this was a big boy schedule. You had to come ready to play. And not only did Auburn come ready to play, they dominated the schedule. They dominated essentially Everybody they played, sure, there were some slip ups. That's college basketball. And I know we're going to the Final Four, and it's not over. And you got to keep playing, and you got to keep winning. I've always said the NCAA tournament will get you a champion, will get you a champion, but I'm not sure if it gets you the best team. Just because of how crazy it is and how it's a one game, one and done thing. I'd love to see from here on out it go to 3 games. Maybe you play this tournament all the way up to the Final Four and then go to a 3-game set. Because I think Auburn in a 3-game set would beat just about anybody. I think this is the best team in college basketball. I know they've lost to Florida. I know they lost to Duke. I still think this is the best team in college basketball with everything they've done. They've not really had any choke jobs. They've not really lost games they necessarily shouldn't have lost. I think they're going to be a 2.5-point dog against Florida. I know that's a tough matchup, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, I don't even really. I want to win the game. Don't get me wrong. I want to win the national championship, but it doesn't change how I feel about this team in general. They're amazing, and what they've done with not necessarily having just a ton of star power, NBA star power, just guys that know their role, accept their role, and do it. Like I can't talk enough about. I said it last night on Zach's show, but Miles Kelly, man, Miles Kelly was the leading scorer for Georgia Tech. He's a scorer. Okay, he's a shooter. Give me shots. I need to get my shots up because I'm going to score. I want to score 20 points. That's Miles Kelly. His shot has not been falling. Okay. His shot has not been falling this tournament. After the first game, he's been pretty bad. You know, I would imagine his shooting percentage is mega low, like maybe even below 20% from 3. Let's see what he's shot. Since the first game, he went 7 of 15. Pretty solid. He's gone 3 of 18 since. So you're thinking, man, that guy's going to pout. That guy's going to be probably have an attitude problem. That guy's going to be an issue. Absolutely not. This kid goes out and just gives everything he has on both sides of the ball. He basically says, I understand my shot is not there right now. He did hit 2 pretty nice little jump shots. He missed a 3 early. Then he hit 2 nice jump shots. Right there as Auburn kind of kicked off that first run to open up the game. But regardless, goes out and gets 6 rebounds. And we're talking big boy rebounds. We're not talking about long bounces where a long bounce where the ball bounces straight to him. We're talking about going up against some of their bigs and making big boy rebounds. Just so proud of that kid, man. So proud of Miles. So proud of all these guys. We're going to have so much basketball to talk about, but Auburn is going to the Final Four, and I can't wait. I can't wait. It takes too long. It takes too long to get here the way they spread it out a week, but Auburn needs a week to heal up, a week to prepare, and then we're headed to San Antonio. We're going to have a football show a little bit later, but I thought we'd kick it off with basketball and have some fun talking basketball. So definitely, guys, stay tuned. There's going to be so much content all week leading up to Big Cat Weekend this weekend, that Final Four, spring practice, so much going on at the barn. Definitely subscribe and hit that alert bell because you're going to have stuff popping all week long. I appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to check out mybookie.ag. You could hit your big parlay this weekend too, or heck, you could bet literally anything all week. So check it out. Have some fun. Guys, I appreciate you listening. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops Podcast.